SPOTR uses AI to inspect properties on elements, condition, typology, materialization and measurements, after which they use scoring models to turn the data into insights. SPOTR eliminates the blind spots in property portfolios, so insurers can detect underinsurance and specific risk or generate leads for new insurance products. Next on stage, SPOTR.
So good morning everybody, I'm Dirk, I'm one of the founders of SPOTR, and we inspect millions of buildings in seconds with AI on satellites, airplanes, drones, Google Street View, but also your phone or a drone. The reason why we do it is that we want to calculate the reinstatement cost of a property to help prevent underinsurance. But first, before we go into the technical details, I want to start off with a little story. For most of us, the most expensive thing we will ever buy is our house. It's the most valuable asset that we all have. Most of us, and imagine you just bought a house, you go on a holiday with your family, the kids, everything's nice, you're playing around, you're having fun, and then you come back home only to find your place totally burned down, all your memories are lost, your pictures are gone, your furniture is gone, everything is gone. And at that time you discover the property value to rebuild your property wasn't 300,000, it was actually 400,000 euros. And you have to pay 100,000 euros to get back your own property. That, at that time of your life, it's going to be the most devastating thing ever. And I think as an insurance industry, we should prevent this from happening and protect people as they should be. At the moment, 83% of properties is underinsured by 35%. And of course, the big reason behind this is that general indexations. So we see a typical general indexation of 3% across the entire portfolio just doesn't cut it. It led to the 83% underinsurance that we just saw. But what you actually want to do is anytime something changes on a property, think about an extension, think of a solar panel on top of the roof, something happens, you want to track those changes. But you also want, if steel becomes more expensive than wood, you want a material-specific indexation on your properties. And if new regulation comes out, think about ESG regulations for rebuilding your property. By now, you cannot rebuild your property at the same level as you used to do 20 years ago due to ESG regulations. So this is what we want to solve with SPOTR. We want to annually inspect 100% of your portfolio to proactively identify underinsurance. The way we do it is extremely simple. The only thing we need from you is an address with a postal code. That's it. Once we get that, we will start collecting images from multiple sources. Think about the satellites, airplanes, drones, and Google Street View. We will then geolocate all of that information and start inspecting. Just basically tagging, like here's a solar panel, here's a chimney, here's a window. Once we have all of that data, we can match that against reinstatement costs and detect if there's underinsurance by comparing it to your existing sums insured. We will give back that information through an API so that you can take action. But now to just show you, so 1 second, yeah. So this is a customer in France, insures properties all over the place, and the only thing we got from them was the postal code and the address. So what we will then start doing, of every property, we will start looking for the building outline. That's what you see right here. If we click that, we get a little bit more information on the property. Think about, okay, what's the activity there? It's residential, it has one building, it has 200 square meters. Of course, super important for your reinstatement cost. But we will also know what Street View location was looking at which facade, from what date was that image taken, and what's the condition of the roof, what's the condition of the facade. We detect about 80 different points on a property. Of course, not all are used for detecting underinsurance, but you could also do fun stuff like risk analysis or claim detection. Another property, both are residentials that I'm showing you. I will later on show a property of the mid-market sector, but this is a larger residential home, so it's a multi-family building. It has 4 stories, it's high-rise, it looks normal, it's about 4,000 square meters, the condition is average, and here again you see 5 Street View locations have been taken a picture from, and we can start analyzing the property based on the images that we get out of that property. And always we see, okay, this is number 5. What is the Street View location belonging to the image that you're looking at the property? So what we want to do is create a Google Street View environment, but then bespoke for your own insurance company with your own policies, so that it really becomes actionable for you. We don't only do it in France, but also, for example, the Netherlands, where we're more servicing the mid-market. So think about your larger farms or smaller restaurants. Same thing happens. So interesting, of course, in the bigger properties, you will have multiple buildings on one plot. We can detect changes year on year as well. So if, for example, this year there was only one farm building, but next year there were two, we can detect those changes and report those back to you. What's important here is, for example, well, it's a masonry and wooden steel shed. We can compare that typology against a typical pricing book that valuators currently also are using, and those two together make your reinstatement cost. So it's and then what we deliver in the end is very, very simple. On the top left side, you will see a score. That score, red is bad, green is good, yellow is sort of in between. So in this case, red would be above 50% underinsurance, yellow would be between 10 and 50% underinsurance, and green would be 0 to 10% underinsurance. And that really helps make it actionable for our customers. Yeah. So the business cases for our customers are actually threefold. One is that they can proactively communicate with customers. Think about, okay, you have a big holiday park with a lot of buildings on top of it. You might build 5 extra holiday homes this year. Now the entrepreneur doesn't have to call the insurance company anymore saying, hey, I've built 5 extra properties, can you insure them? But actually the insurance company can proactively communicate to that entrepreneur, hey, we saw you build 5 extra additional properties. Did you know you're not insured at the moment? And here's the policy to upgrade it. On the back of that, you can raise premiums where needed. We see typically on 100,000 commercial properties, we will gain about 40 million in premiums, and we will save you on inspection costs. So a typical off-site inspection at the moment with a traditional surveyor would cost you about 50 to 150 euros, and we do it at a fraction of those costs. Currently, we're operating in Western and Northern Europe with amazing customers. Nationale Nederland, of course, here also present, but also Landsverchekinger in Norway, Zurich, De Goudse, and Riverside. And just to conclude, what we want to achieve with our company is to get rid of general indexing in this sector and protect every customer against underinsurance. Thank you very much for your attention, and feel free to come to our booth if you want to know more.